morning and welcome to another railway walk video, and today I'm on the branch just outside of King's Clipstone in Nottinghamshire. It's long abandoned, it's been disused for nearly 20 years. To my right we've got Clipstone East and West Junction. I must point out we're going nowhere near any active running lines today. We're not walking down to the junction, we're staying to the west hand side of the junction and we're going to be heading off towards Mansfield. We'll be looking at the site of where Clipstone was, the Clipstone Colliery. Heading off to the left up towards Bilsthorpe and Bilsthorpe. We'll then branch off towards Bilsthorpe Colliery and follow the branch line up as far as where the pit would have been. So I hope you'll come along with me and join me and see what we can find. It's a very dull morning, but it is just gone 6 AM. But it's lovely and quiet. Hopefully it'll brighten up a little bit longer. So let's go. So the East and West Junction at Clipstone, it still has both its semaphore signals. You can see one right there and the other one is right there. And both of these look well maintained. I'm unsure why. All the cables, all the gear, it just seems to be maintained, oiled, lubricated. They're in really good condition. So let's leave them behind. We are not going that way. We're not advancing any further up that way. There's some stacks of old sleepers. And let's have a wander up towards where the Dog and Duck pub is situated by the main road at King's Clipstone. I'm about 200 yards away from Mansfield Road, that's the B6030. And we've got another signal stood here. Now there's no power to it, it's all going to be stripped out. Boxes are just through there. I just find it remarkable that it's still stood here after all this time. So that's signal C19. How the heck they're still here and not been scrapped or in someone's back garden, I'll never know. Off we go. I believe I can see another signal further down. So I've just run up this little embankment. Now there's the signal we've just been looking at. Run up this embankment. And it leads us to what would have been part of the concentration sidings. I'm not sure how many tracks wide this was. I don't think we're going to find anything of interest. But I've come in to have a little look around. The trees are quite tall now, so it's been closed for a while, but yeah, we'll continue further down a little way. I'm not going to venture any further down there because we're going off. I know it'll run alongside the railway, but we're here to walk along the railway, not the woodland. So we get back onto the track bed and we'll come across where the other sidings would have been on the right hand side. this is what remains of the concentration sidings on the other side of the line. Not much at all. Be nice to find some kind of relic, but I find it highly unlikely that we will. This side wider than the previous side as well. So heading off into there, you can see how far it actually goes. Seems a little bit more overgrown than the other side. Nothing, bit of an old sleeper there, but nothing really to suggest that there was any kind of railway here, apart from the way it's overgrown and the lay of the land. So let's find something else. We'll head on back to the track bed. So still in the part of the concentration sidings, the ballast you can see, that is the actual main line, which isn't there anymore, and behind that the grass bank is the first section of concentration sidings that we found after seeing the signal a short while ago. So I'm going to leave the concentration sidings now. They're very wide at this point, and I think with a few people and a hell of a lot of time, there's stuff here to be found. Old relics and bits of railway furniture. So head on back up here. Now the sidings on the other side have almost come to a close. So we'll press on as we close on towards the site of the Clipstone Colliery. So off the line, we've got what would have been the start of the Clipstone side of the concentration sidings, and we're met by this huge structure. Very, very tall. Also appears to be an ideal location for a barbecue. So we'll leave that behind. We're still off the actual main track bed, that's just through there. We'll keep going along. It looks like this would have been another building of some sort, foundations. Looking at the tiles, it's the kind that would have been maybe a toilet or some kind of staff room. It's probably where some of the sinks came from. So the closer and closer I get to Clipstone Colliery and Rufford Junction, the more and more overgrown it's getting. I suppose being next to the forest, it's natural for nature to gradually take over a little bit quicker than it would do back where we started. So it's getting a bit more difficult to walk on. So this is the former track bed to Clipstone Colliery. Now I don't think we're going to get very far because the headstocks are all fenced off anyway and we're not going in there. I believe it just curves around and then I'm expecting it to be fenced off. Looks like that's been made into a kind of farm access. Let's crack on. So, Clipstone Colliery. Now that's been around since 1912 and it was founded by the Bilsthorpe Colliery Company. Now it went on under that company for many years until 1947 when it passed to the National Coal Board. So that was in 1947. Now the pit was due to be closed in 1993, but RGB Mining, later UK Coal, in 1994 they had the licence to dig the coal from this area, and eventually the pit ceased to operate in April 2003, which would have led to the closure of this branch shortly afterwards. The headstocks have been under many a debate for a few years since then as what to do with them, as they're a listed structure and there are plans to save them or keep them saved. Some people want them knocked down. I personally believe they should stay and hopefully they can do something with them and build something around them which should fit in appropriately and make the area attractive, prosperous and usable again. So there's Clipstone headstocks. Looking in a bit of a sorry state, but I think a bit of time dedication and obviously a bit of money spent on it, it can be returned to some sort of form of glory. We're not going to continue that way. The track bed curved a little further around there, so we'll nip up there and then we'll head back to the main line. That's it, that appears to be as far as this is going to go. So we'll head on back down, head towards the main line. Some remains of a structure there. Maybe something to do with loading. Okay, I'll see you back at the junction. So here we are back at the junction. So we've left Clipstone behind. Clipstone Colliery was that way. If we continued down that way, we would have ended up at Crown Farm Colliery or Mansfield Colliery and Mansfield Central Station. That's for another day. Today we're heading up this branch, which would take you towards Bilsthorpe, Lidworth and Rufford Colliery. And also, if we took the Rufford Colliery Branch all the way, which you cannot anymore, it would have taken us to the old line between Mansfield, Farnsfield, Southwell and nearby Bilsthorpe and Renniff station. Currently above cycle route 6, home to the right, it would take us towards Vicar Water, and I can't believe that even the railings off the bridge have been stolen. Unbelievable, both sides. Gone. I suppose everything's got its own value. So that bridge is just behind that mound. Plenty of ballast scraped up and bundled up. So this would be the junction, which would lead us to Bilsthorpe and Bilsthorpe to the left, and to the right would take us to Rufford Colliery. So we'll have a little wander up here first, and then we'll come back to the Bilsthorpe and Bilsthorpe line. So 100 yards down, it looks like, I've not been down here since 2011 I believe. It looks like the path has been made purpose built on the track bed up that way towards Bilsthorpe and Bilsthorpe. Whether it goes up both branches I don't know, but it's the Rufford Branch we're on at the moment, and that's a ballast special. Let's carry on. So that's looking back from where we've just come from. The line is getting more and more overgrown. There's a few sleepers down there. It's the first ones I've seen along this branch. But it's starting to look more and more like an infield abandoned canal rather than a disused branch line. So quite a way down the Rufford Branch now. So we've come from down there. The embankment is getting increasingly higher. We're very high up at the moment. There's a number of dirt tracks and footpaths down that side. On the other side, trees, but still very high up. I don't know if we're going to cross. Yeah, it looks like we're going to cross a bridge. Again, the railings have gone, so it's very high up. You might just be able to make out the bridge number there, 4-CK-2. This is extremely high up. Right, I think we're going near those edges. So down here we're approaching Rufford Colliery, or what once was. Now Rufford, that was founded in 1913, so over 100 years ago. And it lasted until 1993. And again, the branch would have closed shortly afterwards, but the track remained for a very, very long time. I walked this line around about 2003, so a good 10 years later. All the sleepers and rails were down. Now in 2011, when I walked the Bilsthorpe to Clipstone section, I didn't come up here, but it appeared that everything had gone, so somewhere between 03 and 2011 it had all been lifted. And we're still not far from the Bilsthorpe and Bilsthorpe line. That's a little way out of sight over there, so we'll be rejoining that very soon. We're just going to go a little further along here and see if it brings anything interesting. So all around me is the site of the old Rufford pit. Just say that's been closed a very long time. The track bed continues down there. Not sure if we're going to be able to. I'll have a quick mulch around. If not, we'll head back towards the Bilsthorpe Branch. So I have in fact made it safely to the other side. Back on the track bed. I don't know how much further I'm going to get. There seems to be a lot of heavy machinery around. I think that's over on the site, which is fenced off over there. But it's looking more and more unlikely that we're going to get much further down here. We're going to go a little bit further down. It's all private land, it's all heavy machinery. We're not going to go down there, we're not going to mess about with stuff like that. If we had carried on, it would have taken us to the A617, the Relics bypass. Just after that, near the village of Relics itself, and it would have joined onto the line between Mansfield, Relics, Barnesfield, Southwell and so forth. And not far from that would have been Bilsthorpe and Rufford Railway Station. So we'll head back now and meet back up with the line, which would have took me to Bilsthorpe and Bilsthorpe. So do you remember the bridge we crossed earlier? It was really high up on the Rufford Branch. Well, that's this one. And this sort of shows you exactly how high that is. I'm surprised really, knowing the amount of people that wander around here, that hasn't been either pulled down and demolished, or a fence has been put back up again, because that's a drop. That's a drop and a half. Right, let's get back to the Bilsthorpe and Bilsthorpe section. So we just come from that bridge I've just shown you down there. We're back at this mammoth beast of a bridge. The amount of burnt out car wrecks that's down there is ridiculous. It could be such a lovely area. It's unreal how many I've seen. I've heard about it and I've occasionally read about it, but to see it, it's awful. So that above, I'm pretty sure would have carried that disused line off towards Rufford Colliery. And this bridge here would have held the Rufford Branch. And I think if we go this way, we should be able to make our way up there. So after a bit of fun scrambling up there, I've made it up onto this. This what was the track bed we've been talking about. Let's see if I get on top of that big bridge. This just puts into context how high up this actually is. Because that down there, that's the Rufford Colliery Branch. It's like, I can't believe how high it is. So the Rufford Branch is down here. I believe this was actually a bridge somewhere around here. There's part of the structure. There's the junction for this branch and the Rufford Branch, and right down there just out of sight is the blue cycle track sign. I think the bridge went over here and spanned over here. Not sure what it was, if it was just a foot crossing, but it clearly was something, because we've got remains of that bridge again. It's on the course of the former track bed now. So this way we're heading towards Bilsthorpe and we're heading towards Bilsthorpe. So there's that bridge again. I was stood up there and I'm looking down on the bridge that I'm stood on now. So we've come back round again, back on track, and we'll continue on towards the Bilsthorpe Junction. here lies the junction we've been looking for. So Bilsthorpe Colliery to the left, Rufford Colliery to the right. Now the Bilsthorpe Colliery Branch is the one we're taking today. I'm not going to be going down the Rufford Branch. That'll be saved for another video. We'll just have a quick look down there and we'll skip back on over to the other branch and head towards Bilsthorpe. So we're coming off the Rufford and turning right onto the Bilsthorpe. This was still rails and sleepers and ballast last time I came down it. So looking back from where we just come from, we now come to this crossroads. So Clipstone is 3 miles that way, but that'll be following that path. Bearing in mind that we've done a bit of zigzagging, ups and downs, different branches. I'd be interested to know how much I really have walked. Going back that way again, 2.5 miles to the Vicarwater Country Park. And that way we can go to Bilsthorpe and Newstead Abbey. I've got a picture from this very spot from 2011 which still shows the sleepers down, so I'll be sure to add that. So that's the view from behind. That's the view from in front. All I can hear is birds and squirrels and rabbits running around. It's very, very straight and very, very long. Rufford Colliery, that opened way back in 1924 and it closed 30 years ago in 1989, and the branch line we're following now to Bilsthorpe, that opened in 1928 and closed just a little bit more recently in 1997. Rather a lot of ballast still remains, and we're approaching the A614 bridge between Ollerton and Nottingham. So that was the A614 over bridge. One way, Ollerton, Wellow, Doncaster, the other way, Arnold, Sherwood, Nottingham. So we're now on the final stretch. It's another long straight section. We'll keep going. So this was once the site of a foot crossing. I've got another image I took in 2011 of this exact location, which I'll add after this video sequence. But if we'd have took the path to the right, we'd have gone into the heart of Bilsthorpe, and instead left a footpath through some fields. So that almost concludes the walk. So again, you can head back towards Vicarwater, Sherwood Pines, Farnsfield and Southall via the Civil Trail. That would be the road, the path back out onto, is it Equine Road? So the trail probably unofficially carries on a little bit further. there is a gate there. We'll wander down a little bit more because we've walked the branch of the Bilsthorpe Colliery, so we need to at least see the sides of the Bilsthorpe Colliery. So I'll leave you with some images now. Hope you enjoyed the walks. So we've covered from Clipstone Junction, Clipstone Colliery, Rufford Colliery Branch, come back round, skirted Midland Colliery Branch, and come up towards Bilsthorpe, and we're finishing off today on the Bilsthorpe Colliery site. We've got plenty more railway walk videos to come. We've got canal walks to come. We've got a few walks in the Peak District. If you like any of those, make sure you subscribe below, give us a like, give us a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.